Good evening and welcome to the regular City Commission agenda. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, and I'd like to call this meeting to order and have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell. Here. Commissioner Adam Mural is excused tonight. Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Here.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Present. For those who are able, please rise and join us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Some days you wonder if that's happening. Right. So, on our agenda tonight, we have a proclamation for Women's History Month, and I will say that I believe it was it this Tuesday or last? Anyway, last Tuesday was former Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's birthday. So that was pointed out to me the other day by our county clerk. So I would like to read that resolution and the proclamation as soon as I get the pages unstuck. So, Proclamation, Women's History Month 2026, whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life in this nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside the home, and whereas women have played a unique role throughout history of the nation by providing the majority of volunteer labor force of the nation, and whereas women are particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions of our nation, and whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and whereas women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage, equal opportunity, but in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and especially the peace movement, which creates a more fair and just society for all. And whereas despite these contributions, the role of women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now therefore be it resolved, the City Commission of the City of Oregon City does proclaim March 2026 as Women's History Month, and as part of the observance, encourages all people and persons in Oregon City to join in celebrating the important contributions women have made in Oregon City, Clackamas County, Oregon, and across America. And I will sign this. And so our contribution to this is, I believe, with the help of Mr. Wiley, we have had just 4 women who have been mayors of this city. And I thought, even when we did it on the rotating basis, I thought at least Carol Powell or Suzanne Van Orman or Elaine Woolsey had served as mayor during their tenure, but obviously they did not. So they just decided they didn't want to do it. Anyway, so I believe it was Joan Cortalis, who was a mayor, Alice Norris, Rachel Lyle-Smith, and myself. So, all right, so let's move on to our regular agenda. And everybody go home and tell your mom how much you appreciate them, because we all wouldn't be here without them. All right, so we have a couple of items on our agenda that are not on our agenda. So I would like to first make this statement. So if you have submitted a letter to us already, it is in the record. Please do not read it, because we have gotten it. It's in the record. I have read it. I know my colleagues have read it. So if you have some summary remarks to make, that would be very lovely, but we appreciate everybody who submits things in advance, because we do then have a chance to read them. So I'd like to call up Damon Mabey, and then to the other side, Zach Knutson. It's the same thing as people coming up and reading their PowerPoints.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here on behalf of the Oregon City Parks Foundation. We support activities throughout the parks in the city, and one of the activities we have coming up is on the 4th of April, so 4/4, which is a Saturday. We're doing a cleanup along Promenade Park down at the VFW side. I guess that's the south side. And we have a pollinator garden there, so we're going to be prepping it for the spring blooming and also clearing out some more of the grassy area and planting in that. So we're slowly expanding the garden, and we need lots of people there because, boy, that grass is persistent. So as many people as could come, that makes the work go faster. It's from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. We'll have almost all the tools anybody would want there. We've even got a Scotch broom puller, so we took out over 45 Scotch broom plants last year when we did it, and we're hoping that they're not coming back. But anyway, I just want to let everybody know and invite you all. So I expect to see all the commission there, and Tony and the chief and everybody, because I know how much you love playing with plants. And with that, thank you.
Thank you. Well, I would say the only thing that Scotch broom has any value of is after a fire, it puts nitrogen back in the soil, but other than that, they are considered to be a noxious weed. But I participated in the last one where we pulled grass, and there were a few little grass fights where we took clumps of somebody kind of hit somebody else, and we had a little fun doing that.
So if I come, I can throw clumps of grass at you?
If you can catch me.
Okay.
I'm a moving target. So, but feel free. Only you get to do it. All right. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Zach Knudsen. I'm with the Oregon City Police Employee Association, one of the e-board members. I did submit a letter. I don't plan on reading it. I fully trust that you guys have a chance to read it and review it. But I did want to highlight just on a couple of things. 3 months ago is when I last came before you guys, and the records team was about 1,600 cases or reports down. As of Friday, when I checked in with Jessica Mott, our record specialist, they're over 2,300 down. So we're going in the wrong direction. We fully understand and support and appreciate the chief and all of the resourcefulness that he has done in trying to figure out how to manipulate the budget that he's been given so that he could get a couple of part-timers to help a little bit. But we need this city commission, and we're asking the city commission to really look into a work session or whatever you need to do to pull up the budget books, because I don't think we're gonna make it to the next biennium. We need that third record specialist back. Our record specialists need relief. And the thing that I will end on, although it's not as cool as doing a ride-along with the police, because they have red and blue lights, and it's lots of fun, and sirens, and a PA. But if anybody wants to come to a sit-along with our record specialist, she has told me that she is more than willing to answer any questions anyone has, or if you want to see what that job looks like, let her know, and she'll save you a seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda, we have 2 items on the consent agenda. Do we have any concerns, or do we have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, we don't have any public hearings tonight, but we do have 2 items under general business. First is the second reading of Ordinance 261007, Arts Commission and Mural Code update. I think we know all we need to know. Are there any questions about that, or do we have a motion?
Move to approve the second reading of ordinance number 26-1007.
I'll second.
Ordinance number 26-1007, an ordinance of the City of Oregon City amending Oregon City Municipal Code Section 2.26, Arts Commission, and Section 15.28.090, Public Art Murals.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. So the second item under general business is Abernethy Bridge Widening and Seismic Retrofit Project, Temporary Work Area Extension Request. Come on up, our friends from ODOT.
And Madam Mayor, if I could real quick,
Yes, we're just getting them settled, and
Okay.
please
So-
give the report, Mr. City Manager,
Sounds
sorry.
good. So as you're well aware, Oregon Department of Transportation's I-205, I-5 to Oregon 213 Phase 1A project will widen I-205
Slow down.
from 213 to Highway 43 and complete a Phase 2 seismic retrofit of the Abernethy Bridge. The purpose of the project is to improve traffic safety, relieve traffic congestion with the corridor, and provide an earthquake-resilient route capable of being operational after a cascading seismic event. In the staff report, I laid out the history dating back to the vote, Measure 3-539, back in 2018, which authorized use of portions of public parks to improve roadway safety and authorized the city to allow ODOT from some permanent and temporary use of John Storm Park and Sportcraft Landing. In looking at the request, ODOT is requesting a 5-year extension to the temporary work areas located in John Storm Park, which is a charter park, and Sportcraft Landing, which is not a charter park. There'll be no changes to the work area boundaries, the proposed activities within the areas, or the mitigation and replacement requirements for the impacted city properties. Rather than an easement, as we've recorded against the property, ODOT is requesting a license for use. All activities will be temporary, and upon completion, the property will be planted and returned to park use. I did lay out and included in the staff report the ballot measure itself, and included in the explanatory statement was an initial estimate for the construction timeline that indicated the 4 years. The commission clarified when approving the resolution to send the item to voters that the expected impact of the parks would be 4 years, which is based on the best available information on the estimated construction timeline, and as such appears to be more as an estimate rather than a firm limit. The commission should determine if the timeline in the explanatory statement is binding through the vote or was an informational estimate at the time based on a preliminary construction schedule. The proposed 5-year extension request, if approved, does not appear to conflict with the criteria A through D of Section 41 of the Charter, which was included in the staff report. Be happy to answer any questions, or we can have the presentation from the Oregon Department of Transportation representatives.
I do have a question, if I may. So one of the things that I would like clarified is, when did the construction actually start? And I don't mean notice to proceed, because sometimes there's a lag between a notice to proceed and when the contractor actually
Mobilizes.
is starting to do the work. And I think, to me, that's a pivotal time frame. Having done construction projects myself, I know that when I've issued notices to proceed, there's a lag. And that would be something that would be critical for me to know in dealing with our deliberation. I think the other thing is that I think you aptly stated, Mr. Conkle, that any construction project that has ever been happening in the world, it always, you give your best guesstimate about what that time frame might be, because you really don't know. There are circumstances that happen that you find unforeseen things, or, you know, I can think of my own home where, gee, we didn't know we had an oil tank in the basement. We had a construction project going, so we had to extend the timeline because we had to get that out first. Construction is not an exact science. We do know in all projects that you get some idea of what you think it's going to be, and it's never that. I mean, that's just been my professional and personal experience. Always takes longer than you think. So, gentlemen.
And I can just say, I
Yes,
think
go right
they
ahead.
can probably answer
Yes,
that
I
question
figured
much
they
better
could,
than I
yeah,
can, because I know
yes.
different sides were mobilized at different times.
Yeah.
And I guess, I just want you to know that when Carrie and I were working with ODOT, as well as kind of trying to put together the staff report, right, we really focused on the charter itself, right, which is the driver for John Storm Park. Right. Remember Sportcraft Landing, when we've been going through the process, we excluded John Storm Park because we have an existing lease for the marina on that
Right.
property, right? So,
I thought it was a license.
sorry.
Yes, it's not a lease.
But when we look at the charter, what requires it going to the voters sell, lease, or other transfer park property. The transfer of the private components has been voted on already, right? Not asking to change any of the existing boundaries that were approved. Vacate or otherwise change the legal status, not proposing to do that. Construct permanent buildings, not proposing to do that. So what's interesting in this is the time component, right? How long, right? Even though you know it's going to be returned to a park. And what does that explanatory statement serve that went to the voters? I think that's where we came out, is why we're bringing this to you, is because of it did go to the vote. This was a commission decision to send it to the vote, partially because the charter, they're asking for permanent easements, which we interpreted sell, lease, or otherwise transfer the park property, but they're not changing anything that would have been put before the voters. The time was in the explanatory statement, even though there's no requirement that we've identified that dictates that in the charter itself. So I really do think it's up to the commission to really kind of talk through that and how it's applied here.
Okay. Anything, gentlemen? On with the show?
Curious to hear.
Okay. You okay for starting the presentation? Okay. Thank you.
Right.
So you guys know the drill, name,
We do.
agency.
Mayor, Commission, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk with you tonight. We'll give you an update on the Abernethy Bridge project. I'm Matt Freitag. I'm ODOT's Region 1 Project Delivery Manager, responsible for the Region 1, which is the Portland metropolitan area. And with me is
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Vidal Francis. I am the Area Manager for the Abernethy project.
All right, so we'll give you a quick update here on what we know is a big project in your backyard. So first off, a quick reminder of the project elements. So this is bridge strengthening work. That's the central part of this project. We're retrofitting Abernethy Bridge to make it seismically resilient to withstand a major earthquake. But while we're here, we're also reconfiguring on and off ramps at both 99E in Oregon City and Oregon 43 in West Lynn. The new roundabout in West Lynn, which was finished in 2023, we're already seeing benefits to that. We also have quite a few bike ped improvements in both Oregon City and West Lynn. As part of the retrofit work on the bridge, we're widening it to accommodate a future third through lane. Full benefit of this will be realized in future phases of our project. And upon completion of this phase, southbound will have 3 through lanes and 1 auxiliary lane across the bridge. And northbound will have 2 through lanes and 1 auxiliary lane across the bridge, which will be ready to widen for the next phase of the projects. While we're doing this, we're also building a new sound wall in Oregon City near exit 9, just north and east of the bridge. This was something that the commission wanted us to look into, and ultimately the adjacent neighbors did vote for it. And also, while we're here, we're doing stormwater treatment, retaining walls, signing, striping, sign structures, and illumination. All right, so now I'll get a quick update on what we've completed thus far. So on site, good news, we are out of the water. So that is all new construction work that needs to be done in the Willamette River has been complete, which is an important milestone. You may notice there are still temporary work structures that need to be removed, and then also the existing bridge supports will be removed, but everything new that's going in there has been done. We are also working on the crossbeam retrofits. The concrete to strengthen those pieces is nearly completed as well. Probably a very visible piece that you can see here in the picture. Structural steel is being installed to facilitate the bridge widening. You've seen the green steel, these girders that have been installed over 99E and then also we have stringers and other minor steel elements along the main span of the bridge. We've also successfully completed overnight closures of I-205 to install 2 new sign bridges and remove the old ones. I mentioned the roundabout before over there at Oregon 43. We're already seeing the benefit of it. Rush hour speeds have increased and local congestion has decreased. We're also looking at certain crashes to decrease by 48%. On the administrative side of things, We did give an update to the Oregon Transportation Commission last week. Part of that is we're working with the contractor on clarifying the revised schedule to complete the bridge work. Our contract completion date is currently October 2026. However, our contractor's last accepted schedule indicates a completion in May of 27. So we're working diligently with the contractor on opportunities to accelerate the work. Part of that is revising some of the work to save time and effort. We're removing extra items from the project to have them streamlined, to focus on what needs to get done. And then we're also allowing some alternate methods that will save the contractor time while still delivering the same results. And we're also looking at doing separate phases. So a future phase of the work will be the improved soil matrix. That is subsurface work at the ends of the bridge to, again, improve the seismic resiliency by improving the soil and this holds up the bridge. And then also planting work. Both of these need to be done after the bridge work is complete, but also having a focused contractor to do these pieces will result in much better end result. And a quick focus on the work that is happening in the Oregon City Parks. So we know that you have a front seat to this project, or this part of the project. We expect intermittent noise during the day and night that some neighbors in Oregon City will hear. Ongoing traffic impacts on 205 and on 99E, Main Street, Clackamas Drive, and the Arch Bridge. Ongoing sound wall construction. And then specific in the park area, we've got the soil stabilization work that I mentioned, which will again, help with the earthquake resiliency. And this is very specialized work. It's bringing in a specific contractor after the bridge. And we expect that work to take about 1.5 to 2 years. And then after that work is done, then we will work on our final contract, which is landscaping and also improving the outfall of Abernethy Creek and returning the park areas to their original condition. So I do want to say our request today, which is supported by the staff report, is for a time-only extension, no changes to the footprint, and the public will continue to have the same access to both parks as they do today. So thank you for your consideration of our request.
Questions, gentlemen?
So my first question, if you can maybe just clarify for everyone, so how exactly are you using the land today? And were you not to be granted access to its continued use, what's your plan?
Commissioner, thank you for the question there. Appreciate that. Number one, I'm going to say thank you for the partnership that we've had with the city of Oregon City, with the work that we've been able to continue on the bridge right now. As far as changes to the footprint of what's been already allocated or given to us or temporary easement, there's no changes to it. Currently, right now, again, there's construction activity going on in those locations, and we expect for those to continue. The situation that we're confronted with, at least right now, is that the contractor is behind schedule in different ways because of the challenge of being able to complete a project like this. You know, when you're doing a project where you're retrofitting an existing structure to bring it up to standard as well as replacing numerous parts of it, there's lots of issues with trying to get the work completed and on time. And we do know that the current easement that we have right now, or the current temporary work location that we have right now, does expire, I believe, September. And we already recognize that the contractor will not be able to get out on time. Consequently, if we're not granted, that would mean that obviously the work would have to halt until we can figure out another path to be able to use those easements as set forward.
And so, continuing on, 5 years is a long time. That's more than twice what the initial timeline, you know, when we went to the voters was, and I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
What I will say is that the contractor, Kiewit, our plan is to actually have him out, completely out. Right now, the current contract says that they need to be out by October of this year. But we do recognize through analyzing their schedule, looking at the work and so forth, it's likely that's going to be much later. But the approach is to have them completely out, gone. Consequently, what you'll see next going on is the soil matrix contract that has to happen that's the last effort to make the bridge completely seismic resilient, where we stabilize the ground right there with some soil mixing and that would be the contract that would be coming afterwards to complete that final phase. So our current contractor would actually be out of there. It's just that we need the additional time to get him out there, but bring in this, this soil matrix phase into it to complete it, and then afterwards to beautify the location with landscaping and so forth, which has to happen last. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, just some of the timelines. So bridge work, yes, as we mentioned, anticipated potentially going into 2027. The ISM work does have some in-water components, so we're limited in the amount of time we can do that each year. So we are assuming 2 years for that, so 28 and 29, and then the landscaping work in 30. So that gets us pretty far in there. And yes, recognizing that we are not done with the bridge yet, and there is uncertainty with the bridge completion and ongoing negotiations with our contractor that could potentially put that revised completion date at risk. That's what we're working to mitigate.
So with the estimates that you just said you said the ISM work taking potentially 2 years and then a year for kind of replanning, beautification of the area, right? Was that part of your initial 4-year plan? So you're estimating 1 year for the actual work with the contractor, 2 years for the ISM, and then 1 year for fixing the area? But again, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this timeline and why we've gone from 4 years to requesting 9.
Sure. So, Commissioner Wilson, the original project had all these elements into a single construction contract. So Kiewit was going to be doing all of that work, and we recognized very quickly that they were not going to be the right ones to complete this other part of it. So that's where we worked to separate out that work and do it under a separate contract, requiring the bridge work to be done, so they couldn't dovetail that together. And then also just the bridge project itself, as you've probably noticed, the project has taken longer than we were expecting. These retrofit projects, the remodeling of a bridge is definitely taken more than we were originally expecting.
I appreciate that, and I apologize. I hope I'm not coming across as hostile or anything like that. That's not my intention. I'm just trying to understand.
Sure.
So again, following up with understanding that we're behind on schedule, why are we coming only 6 months before the easement contract ends?
Well, we've been working with our contractor on a recovery schedule and working through that. So looking through those details, that's a big part of what we've been trying to square away what that schedule is going to be so that we can come to you with some more confidence in what our timelines are going to be.
As Matt mentioned earlier too, we've made a very huge conscious effort to try to see if we could speed up the work in various ways. Finding new specifications that we could get the contractor to be able to do the work much more smoothly, finding ways to eliminate or remove certain works that didn't have functionality to the existing structure that we have right now as far as it being seismically resilient. We looked at various ways to try to get the contractor to move faster by, releasing, limiting some of the specs so that he can have more options on how he's constructing and so forth. And again, but ultimately realizing, as Matt just mentioned here, this contractor is likely not the right one to continue with this phase of work. Consequently, all our efforts to try to come with a recovery schedule to get us back on track, get us back on time, is still posing some challenges. Consequently, we're here now with the commission here to have that discussion and have that conversation.
Okay. I appreciate it. That's all I have for the moment.
So are you able to answer my question about timing of construction starting?
Mayor, construction started in 2022.
So was that the notice to proceed, or is that when Kiewit actually got on site, started doing stuff?
I was not involved in the project that time. Those are the notes I have. I believe that is when we had first note, which is the start of construction. So I'll get that information.
So you're saying that was notice to proceed?
I believe.
We would have to get back to you, Mayor, with the exact date on that. And you are right. Generally, when a contract is let, there's a few months that kind of lapse before they actually get on the ground and actually start moving the work. But both him and I'm kind of new to this project to some extent. Obviously, on the agency, there's lots of us wearing multiple hats trying to make coverage on a lot of other projects and so forth. I'm actually coming from down the Eugene area to come and support this project as an area manager. But if you just give us
Sure, that's fine,
time
yeah.
that we can respond to you quickly with the exact first note on this project.
Questions, Mike?
No, not questions. I've got comments, but
Okay, go for it.
not quite, no. Are we going to hear public comment before comment from commissioners, or are we going to wait?
We're going to hear comments, but from the community, but if you have questions.
I don't have any, I
questions
don't have
for
any
them,
questions for them, no.
This is, we have the opportunity to ask them questions at any time, but I figured we had some substantive ones, we could do that right now and take care of that. Go ahead.
So, in the original agreement and the time scope that was, original time scope, there wasn't any reimbursement to the city other than putting the park back the way it is in the end, correct?
Actually,
Or was there more?
better than it was.
Well,
I believe,
They said
yes,
better
there
than
was
that.
compensation to the city for use of the space.
what that doesn't do is give us the loss of a park for up to 10 years. And what it does, so I guess the question is simply this. You're extending the project by almost double. You're not extending the compensation to businesses by almost double, or the city for the loss of a park for double the time. That's concerning.
I don't disagree with you. We have a balancing act here. So we have a facility that serves more than our city. It's of statewide significance. We all know that the seismic upgrade is absolutely needed because it's one of the main ways that if something happens, people have to use that.
If I could answer
Sure.
Commissioner Smith's question. So the time involved with this, there is compensation that's being proposed to the city for the additional time. I don't have that number right in front of me. We're still working with our right-of-way staff to about that.
And business is affected.
There are 3 businesses directly affected. We've heard from 2 of them that are suffering 50% losses in income and have since the start of the project. And now you're doubling that length of time. So I'll be right up front up now. I am not in favor of this commission extending it. I'm not in favor of putting it before the people until you have a financial compensation agreement with those 3 businesses to compensate them for their loss of revenue. That's where I'm at.
Are you talking about one of the businesses being Sportcraft?
I'm talking about the hotel, I'm talking
Okay,
about
the hotel,
Sportcraft,
yeah.
and I'm talking about NRG kayaking.
Yeah,
And NRG and Sportcraft are the 2 that we heard from.
right. Well, Sportcraft
And at some point,
got money from the state of Oregon.
no, Sportcraft got money, the money they got was for permanent
Permanent.
loss.
Yes, permanent
It was
loss.
not for business
Loss.
impacts.
Yeah.
2 different things.
Yes, thank you.
So if I could, a follow-up, because I want to make sure I understand this as best I can. So were time not to be extended, the project stops, or what, again, what is the impact to the seismic upgrade on the bridge if we say, hey, we're not renewing the access to our parks?
The work area currently is being used for access to the bridge to allow our contractor access to make the improvements needed. Once the bridge work is done, that same area will be used for the subsurface improvements. So when it comes to access, access would be more challenging. Could we revise things and not use the space to get access? Potentially. We haven't looked at that yet. But as far as doing the subsurface soil work, no, that cannot happen anywhere else. It must happen where that access point is.
Okay, so you're saying you would not be able to complete the project without access to the park area that you currently have access to?
At this point, I can't say that we could. We would need to look at it and see if there's
Okay.
alternate options. We could not complete it without significantly changing our approach.
So there are potentially alternates that you have not explored?
Potentially. I'm not sure. We have not looked at those yet.
Okay.
How would they get to those piers there? If
That's-
there's no place else to go.
Right, and so that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get to the crux of is does it stop, or are there alternatives?
I don't think there's any. other way to get there.
That's my assumption.
That's my assumption as well. We're basically saying that there's no other way to get to that
Correct.
Yeah.
section of the bridge of where it crosses there. There's, I mean, you know,
And I appreciate, you
unless
know,
people are flying, I think that's happening.
kind of how you're sharing and explaining things, but I like just being super direct. Like if the project can't continue without access, period, I think that's helpful to know. Because I also do understand the important nature of the upgrades, but again, balancing that with access to our parks and the impact on our businesses.
I think for me, the impact is more so for the adjacent businesses. So,
Well, I mean, we're a riverfront town that has, putting it bluntly, not great access to the river, and this is making it worse.
I know, but
So-
the bridge, yeah, it's either we get the work done or the bridge falls down, which
Sure.
I don't think I like that alternate, because then they'll be coming down Main Street. And we do not want that.
I guess I did have one question. I'm sorry. I should have asked sooner. Originally, this was seismic upgrade and widening, and now it's seismic upgrade and preparing for widening? Did I understand that right?
It's widening.
This project?
It actually is seismic upgrades as well as the bridge actually will be widened. The
It will
bridge
be.
will be widened.
Will be widened.
Yeah,
Correct.
that was the plan all along. It was going to be
I know it was the
widened.
plan all along, but I had also read several stories that said it was going to be prepared for the additional widening, but that was not a part of this phase.
So this phase is widening the bridge.
Okay.
What has been removed from the whole corridor is widening on other parts of 205.
Right, I understand
So
that.
the structure itself
Okay.
will be widened, yes.
So the work you're doing now will include widening the bridge?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. To make it a little bit more clearer to you, excuse me, the center main spans of the structure right now, there's about 3 spans that goes across the river right now. We plan to do a translation of the structure where we actually move both of those spans, separate them by like 12 feet on both sides, and then add additional roadway between the center of those 2 structures. And again, that work is, we're looking at likelihood towards the end of this year to try to get that work completed. But again, for us to be able to get there, again, we have to come through this commission to have that conversation about this going on. But yes, it's a bridge widening.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Before I call up public members, I do have one tangentially related project. So yes, I like the roundabout. It works well. I do see people doing strange things on them, as I'm sure your crew does. I don't understand why, you know, going in a circle is hard, but, you know, that's okay. So at one time, when you came down Willamette Falls Drive, there was a stop sign, there still is. And then when you're coming from under the bridge and then coming to our bridge, or your bridge, or our cities, 2 cities' bridges, there was also a stop sign there. Now people just go through, and then this traffic all backs up Willamette Falls Drive because they have to wait to alternate in if somebody is inclined as a driver. And so I've done it both ways. Coming, I'll just say, I'm at Market of Choice, so I'm coming that way. It's easier for me. Is there any plan to put a yield sign or a stop sign, and you don't have to answer it now, you can get back to me later, at coming towards Oregon City, so that people who are coming down Willamette Falls Drive have an opportunity to make the turn and get wherever they need to go? Because I said, I use it daily.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Mayor McGriff, anytime we do a major upgrade project that does change lanes like this, we see there are changes adjacent, and so we are looking at that and looking at what else might need to be adjusted, changed, improved to deal with new traffic patterns. So in the middle of construction, it's a little tough to do that, but once we're done and we're seeing where the numbers are and where maybe the challenges or bottlenecks are, then we do look at what we could change there. So we will be looking at that as we get further along.
Okay, well, I hope I try to when I'm coming towards the bridge and somebody's coming down Willamette Falls Drive, I try to let somebody in, because I've been in that situation where, you know, I've waited and waited and waited and waited and nobody, you know, and then it's backed up past the school and up, further on 43 up there. I mean, in Willamette Falls Drive, it's just, you see that line and it's just like, okay, people are just zooming. Okay, I'd like to call up people a couple at a time since we only have 3 people. I'd like to call up Damon and Raymond. Don't forget about the green light. And move it closer to you so that you don't have to lean over. There you go.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Damon.
My name's Raymond, and I'm a member of TAC, but speaking only for myself.
Raymond what?
Raymond
For the record.
And I'm a resident of Oregon City, not speaking for the Transportation Advisory Committee, but I do happen to be a member. I also reread the explanatory statement, and nowhere in that explanatory statement does it say approximately 4 years. It says up to 4 years. So it's very clear. Voters approved up to 4 years, and they deserve to weigh in on potentially 5 more years. So that part is very clear, and there's just no ambiguity to it, that it would be wrong to do otherwise. So in addition to that argument, we also have a charter park, and it would set a terrible precedent for the commission to arbitrarily, without additional voter approval, provide an additional 5 years. You can imagine a situation where, for good cause, citizens decide we need a temporary hospital and a charter park for just a few years to deal with the next pandemic, whatever it is. We can't have a future commission say, oh, we did this for ODOT, now we're just going to have this temporary hospital and a charter park for another 10 years, 20 years in perpetuity. So please don't set that precedent right now. The other item is just the bargaining chip that we have with ODOT right now. They're coming to us, they need something from us, and if we just give it to them without negotiating, thank you for talking about the businesses, but what about our streets? We have a lot of needs on our streets right now, and ODOT has $1 billion at this project. They could be providing us with the $6.5 million we need for Highway 213, which is a ODOT property. Right now, they're arguing that that project should be done with our SDCs, and we're having to put aside all of our discretionary funding towards an ODOT property when we have this wonderful bargaining chip. They could be coming to the voters saying, we've got money for Sportcraft, we've got money for the $6.5 million, which is a drop in the bucket compared to all that they're putting on the Abernethy Bridge. And voters would probably approve that. They would say, great, we're getting all this, and all we have to do is let them stay in the charter park for another 5 years. Voters would probably flock to that, but instead, they're considering getting all of this for nothing. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Damon Mabey, Oregon City resident, not talking from Parks Foundation in this case. I want to just say I've got lots of issues with this. First off, I have a bit of an issue with Mayor McGriff saying, well, things happen on construction projects.
They do.
Not if they're well planned. Not if you take the time. There's a reason why there's the 6 Ps. And you wouldn't accept somebody building an addition to your house saying, it's going to take 5 extra years, sorry. And so there's that. And part of that is ODOT's really, really late response coming to the city. They already knew it was going to be 3 more years just for the soil and the reparation or the repairing of the park. Even if Kiewit left in October, they were still going to have 3 more years. They could have come to us any time in the last year, and we could have put this on the ballot and we could have had it resolved. So because their piss poor planning does not necessarily mean that it's our emergency. I mean, how many times have you had to deal with somebody else's problem becoming your emergency? Especially up there, I've been there. So, you know, I support the project. It needs to be done. I want to say that absolutely up front. But, you know, if it, you know, and I would support the commission saying something like, well, we'll give you an extra 60 days until we wait till the November election. Because if they would have come to us even a month ago, it could have been on the May ballot. So this delay is a crisis of their own making. And, you know, there's a lot of ways where, like Raymond said, that they could make us very appealing to the city or to the voters. One I like is a promise to not toll 205 in Clackamas County. You know, go ahead and push it up there and we'll know all you want. Sorry, I know
It's off the table. It's not coming back.
But, you know, it's just, you know, the other thing that worries me is this permanent easement. Because if it's there, it can be used without requirement. So, oh, we're doing something on McLaughlin, so let's park all of our dump trucks on the easement. You know, and it just, easements always make me nervous unless there's a boundary on them as far as what they are an easement for. And if, you know, so a permanent easement is a potential permanent loss of access to a charter park. Again, another reason to take it to the voters. So I think what the commission should be doing, besides finishing these negotiations, is you know, saying, look, we'll give you 60 days, but it's going to the voters in November.
Thank you. Sam?
Okay. Hello, thank you. My name is Sam Drivo, small business owner in Oregon City. Appreciate your time, commissioners. And yeah, in a similar vein, I just want to say, well, I did have a great meeting with Mural last week, and that was very insightful, and I'm thankful for that. What's been kind of unfortunate is that as a small business owner right underneath the bridge, we really haven't been contacted from ODOT at all, ever. And, you know, in the very beginning, we called, and again, just for the record, I'm a small business owner, energy kayaking, based inside. We're an anchor tenant at Sportcraft Landing, and we've been in business for 15 years, 11 years prior to the project. It's now the 4th summer, and yeah, it's not 50% down. And in fact, after my meeting with Vidal, I was like, I need to really crunch these numbers a little bit more. It's like a 61% decline in revenue and like a 64% decline in visitation, which is like almost 12,000 people. And this is based on historical data that we've got. So this isn't pie in the sky. It's over $500,000 lost for my small business if you cumulatively, you know, add it up. And it's really just the business interruption that I'm here to talk about. And I'm not going to go through it. You guys have read the letter, so I'm not going to belabor all the different aspects. But what I will say is that, you know, we were more or less forced to sign a really restrictive lease when this project started. And for the record, the staging started in the fall of 21, and the first full season, summer season, was 22. But it was definitely starting in 21. You know, and they closed down Clackamas Drive, which is a main thoroughfare for fishermen, for parking. John Storm Park is a park that we used, you know, in the past. And then it really had to do with parking down, you know, on the park's property in the parking lot there. And, you know, we basically said, you know, we can't have vehicles there for more than 15 minutes, you know, was the lease that we signed. We were forced to sign, you know, as our rent doubled, right? At the very beginning of this project, right after, you know, we had a 37% decline and then a 20% decline. I mean, it's in the letter. But I guess my point is I can't not address this issue in this moment. And I feel like this is a good time for some negotiation. some renegotiation, because I feel like what we were kind of forced into at the very beginning, and then now we're 4 years down the line, and we can look at what's happened, and it's like, hey, you know, we need to have a voice in this. It's been too big of an impact not to. And I will just say for the record, you know, we've gotten a little bit of rent relief from our landlord, you know, this winter, but I mean, it's been 3 years of, you know, COVID loan helping finance our losses.
Hey, your time's
So yeah,
up.
just reevaluation would be great. So thanks. Questions?
Nope.
Okay.
So, gentlemen, one of the biggest concerns appears to be constraints on the businesses that are down there, which you know, again, you're both new, not been with the project from the beginning, but obviously that is a major concern. We'll be coming up on another summer season. Let's hope we have summer this year. And I think that's one of the things that would probably be helpful to hear what your thoughts are about that. I know some of this is above your pay grade, but it's obviously an issue.
I'll go first. Mayor McGriff, thank you for, first of all, giving us the opportunity to be able to speak, and also to be able to listen to some of the voices in the room that have you know, experiences with the bridge. And I think that overall, what I'm hearing here in the room, that the project is actually needed, and the project, I think most folks, if not all, want to see the project get completed. And that's because it serves a greater purpose for not just this community, but many other communities nearby, adjacent, and even folks that pass through. I will say that the experiences that everyone is feeling here is more than likely real. Again, you have your businesses that need to do their, serve their clients and so forth. And I will say that I know that the agency has made a conscious effort to not hinder anyone from being able to access those businesses and visit there, go there appropriately. As the last comment that came through in our conversation that I had with Mr. Devereaux, I believe the last name is, we will continue to make sure that people have access to their business, which includes also looking at putting up some signs to help people to be able to see or notice that their business is still open. But again, we have never hindered or stopped anyone from coming to the business. I will also say too that as we wind down with Kiewit, trying to get them to move on, complete this project, as we move to the other smaller contracts, the big scene that you see out there will actually all kind of vanish or go away, simply because we're doing a much smaller nature of improvement in that general area in terms of doing the soil matrix as well as the landscaping work. So again, and I do recognize that Kiewit's out there, there's lots of moving parts, there's lots of boats, barges, if you will, girders coming in, trucks moving back and forth. And I think that everyone understands that that's the kind of the nature of that particular project, simply because of the magnitude that it has there. But we all recognize, I think everyone here in the room recognizes that it's an important project, one that, again, as you work through these projects, and myself, I've been a construction manager for several years for ODOT. And one of the things I know, there's no such thing as a perfect set of plans. You know, even if a designer sit there and write down all their stuff, they lay it down nice and neat and so forth, that contractor who's trying to get it done for the best price, get it done the most expedient way, he's going to try to rub against the grain to complete that project. Consequently, if you don't have a good, or if you're working with an administration team that's trying to stay on top of the schedule, stay on top of all the different activities, it can be challenging, in particular with a project of this nature, not only this size, but this type of complexity. Rehabbing existing structures are very, very difficult. But nevertheless, we recognize some of the pain that everyone feels, ODOT ourselves, we're feeling the pains too, because we have to traverse those roads. We have to do our business, if you will, on those roads. But again, we will continue to do our best, continue to try to improve not only this community, but every other community that's out there. And I'm going to turn it over to Matt to see if he has a few comments too as well. Thank you.
No, I don't think I have anything else to add, but yeah, I think that, hearing the concerns and looking, again at our contractors' operations and making sure that business access is maintained.
Well, I'm not sure who is putting the 15-minute time limit on that, but I'm assuming it's not you all, correct?
I'm not aware of a 15-minute limit, no. We'll go back and double check on things, but that wouldn't be something that we would do.
So Sam, you can't speak from the audience, but you could either nod your head yes or no. Is this your the person that holds your lease? Nope, just nod your head. Yes, it is your lessee, your lessor. So who's putting, so they're saying it's not them. So, no. Yeah, no. Okay, so I don't know who's doing that. What I didn't hear was how you plan to work with the adjacent businesses to, besides access, there are other things that, I don't know if anybody has business disruption insurance, such a thing does exist, but it seems to me that at the beginning of the project, there had to be some knowledge that there might be problems of getting people to and from, these businesses. I haven't been down, well, it's been a while since I've been down. It's probably been about since before the fall that I was down at Sportcraft.
None of us have been down there.
Well,
I mean,
I couldn't go down there because I was in a cast, so I couldn't.
Right.
But I was down there like in July,
Mayor?
just to see if you could actually get there, and you could. It wasn't easy, but you could get there.
I agree, it is an important project. We all want to see it done. We all want to see it done as quick as possible. I'll just point out, when you talk about business access, you're really understating the problem for those businesses, because the two of them especially,
You don't know how to
the
get there.
activities of their customers are all on that water. And who wants to take their kayak out in the middle of a massive construction project like that? Whether they can get to the business on the road isn't the problem. It's for those, they're unique businesses, and both of them rely on people being able to feel comfortable and safe moving their watercraft to their facilities. And it's not that way. And that's why some compensation for that, to me, is critical in this.
Rocky?
the topic we had before this was about what would happen if someone lost a tree. And we're losing a park for almost 9 years and saying, well, okay, that's just okay. It's not okay. And so, you know, I think this project's important, but then come back and tell us what you're gonna do to mitigate the fact that we're losing the park for another 4 years or 3 or 4 years, and what are we gonna do to help those businesses that lose business for the next 3 or 4 years? If you have an answer for that and it has a dollar figure, then maybe we can figure this out, because the project should happen, but that's the answers we need.
I think that's where we have to go.
I think the concern that I have, though, in even just talking about what efforts have been made to the businesses, saying we'll put signs up. Where's the signs been since 2022? And it's now 2026. There's no signage to tell people that those businesses are open. Yes, do we know that we can access those buildings? But every time I drive down, I'm thinking, gosh, I'd really like to drive down there and see what the park looks like. Have I done it? No, because no one wants to drive anywhere near that, right? And so there has to be a response other than we're trying our best. And if trying your best is just saying it, then that's not enough.
So I think you've heard 3 of us making sort of the same request, and I think that's where we have to go. Our businesses are very important to us. I will say that from the standpoint of, you know, I don't want to hear from Salem that, oh, Oregon City is shutting down this project, because I mean, that, you know, they will I'm sure that there'll be some blame assigned. I don't want that to happen either. So there's got to be a balance somewhere between making sure that the signage is adequate, that, again, we all know how people are. If they can't figure something out, they're just going to leave. If you really want to go there, you'll figure it out, but that's not the point. That's not really the point. The point is we've had business disruption, substantial business disruption. We need to go above and beyond. So I think you're going to need to come back with some answers to those questions that we have before we can make any decision about this.
I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I feel like I'm being put in a very tough position here, right? Of recognizing the importance of this project and that it's need to be completed. The access to our parks and how critical that is to the completion of this project, and also recognizing the impact to our community and our businesses. And kind of where I'm struggling to reconcile all of this is if all of this information was known right in the beginning, right, that we needed this project and that we needed access to the parks to complete it, why did we go to a vote in the first place? And I'm not saying that as in we shouldn't have gone to a vote. What I'm saying is, in my perspective, it's bad precedent to say, well, we went to a vote initially, but now we're just going to say we're doing it, right? I don't feel good about that. So I don't know. I mean, my thoughts are almost, in line with maybe this does go back to the ballot and understanding that how important this project is. How are we going to make this attractive to the voters enough to say yes?
I feel good about that. Mr. City Manager, I think we have some direction here about what it is we need in order to make an informed decision, and we don't have all the information.
So do you need a motion? Like, do we need?
No.
No? Okay.
Yep. I think we've given direction that we need this information. So can we put it back on the agenda in 2 weeks?
I think we'll move as quickly as we can to try to address the questions that have been heard, and we'll bring it back as soon as it's ready. Okay.
All right, thank you. We're running a little bit behind schedule, so communications, should we just skip that?
I'd prefer to, yes. I don't have
Okay.
anything.
Let's just skip that. Okay, so we are going to adjourn this meeting and take a 5-minute break, and then we will reconvene as the City of Oregon City Urban Renewal Commission.